Hi there, I'm Amy from Cakes with Faces. Now, as no one's really travelling at the moment, today I thought it might be fun to have a chat about all the things we miss about Japan. Now, I don't want this to be a sad, depressing video. I want it to be something positive, to share all the things we love about Japan. If you haven't been, it might be interesting. And if you have been, tell me in the comments if these are the same for you or if there's different things that you miss. There's lots more videos about Japan on my channel, and there's new videos every other Thursday if you want to subscribe. Also, take a look at cakeswithfaces.co.uk. Everything is my design, and lots of them are inspired by Japan and kawaii style. I'm shipping orders every day and there's worldwide delivery. Thank you for your support. Now, onto the video. The first thing I miss about Japan, and we're going to start off with the main, big, meaningful one before we get onto things that are a bit more trivial, is that Japan is just a pleasant place to be. Now, obviously this is a huge generalization, but on the whole, it's clean, the trains are on time, things just work, and it just makes it a nice place to be. There's so many little things that are just so convenient. Like how you can order a machine in a small, busy restaurant so the staff can concentrate on making your food, or how you can rotate the seats on the train to face the direction you're travelling. These are stairs coming up from the subway, and what this is for cyclists. It's a little ramp to put your bike on. As you walk up the steps, you put your bike on the ramp, and it's a little conveyor belt that takes your bike up for you. Some of them might be going a bit far, like those combination padlocks I came across for umbrellas. No one's stealing my umbrella. But on the whole, there's just so many little things that make life more convenient and just make it pleasant to be there. A huge part of it is the culture of how people respect each other. Now, this is a generalisation as well, but on the whole, people are really polite. They're quite reserved, but also really friendly and helpful and welcoming. And the customer service is excellent. Like how when you go into a shop or a restaurant, all the staff shout out "IRASSHAIMASSE" to welcome you in, and people actually seem to really care about the job they're doing. Even just walking around the street, you can tell how people respect each other a bit more. On the whole, people aren't pushing past you or pushing in front of you. You can really tell, especially in the city where it's quite busy, it makes it a lot more bearable to be in crowded places. I really like knowing that crime levels are so low, and on the whole, it's safe to walk around the streets and people aren't going to pickpocket you or steal your things or try and rip you off. And things like those little shops where people leave things out and you just put the money in the box, and it's all based on trust. I really like that people are honest enough for things like that to happen. I'm sure if you actually live in Japan, you might see things differently. Not everything works well, and from what I've heard, some procedures are quite convoluted and old-fashioned, and some things are quite difficult if you live there. And I'm sure if you got to know all the little nuances of the culture, sometimes the politeness is just a facade. But from the outside, as a visitor, it's a really pleasant place to be. And I like how the culture's built just so everyone can get along without bothering each other. I think is a really good way to be. Now we've got the main point out of the way, the second thing I miss about Japan is a little bit less meaningful: Japanese bakeries. Now, I had to stop myself making all of these points about food, but I had to include Japanese bakeries. They're so good. They were something I didn't discover when I first went to Japan, because usually I try and stick to Japanese food to make the most of the local cuisine, and they have bakeries everywhere. But Japanese bakeries are amazing. I don't know how they make the bread so soft and fluffy, and there's so many options. Some of them are twists on things you'd recognise, like naan breads with toppings, and some of them are completely new inventions. There's all the things like cute Totoro bread, and then there's things like edamame mochi bread that was delicious, really chewy, and maple syrup melon pan. So many different varieties. I really want to try everything. Bakeries are so good for breakfast or lunch or snacks, anything. The next thing I miss about Japan is train station jingles. Now, if I lived in Japan, I think I'd definitely be in danger of becoming a train nerd. There's just something about the design of Japanese trains that's just so cool. Just look at this one in Osaka that goes to the airport. It looks like some kind of robot from the future. I really like the whole aesthetic of the Tokyo Metro. It might seem strange, but I just kind of like the look of the signs and all the colourful lines on the map and those hanging adverts you get inside the train. There's just so much to look at. But what really gets me is the sounds at the station. Whenever I hear them, it just takes me straight back. It's so nostalgic. There's a Japanese word, NATSUKASHI, which means that's so nostalgic. NATSUKASHI. When you're in Tokyo, they play a little jingle when the train arrives at the station. Not all the stations have them, but I think most of them do on the Tokyo Metro and the Yamanote line. Some of them are quite jazzy, some of them sound a little bit sinister. If you want to listen to them, there's videos on YouTube, and when I hear them, it just takes me straight back. Because when you're in Tokyo, you go on the train so much and you spend quite a bit of time standing around at the stations, so you hear them a lot in the background, but it's something you don't really focus on, so it sort of infiltrates your subconscious. And I found it's the same effect with the sound effects you get at the pedestrian crossing and the chimes you hear in the convenience store. The next thing is vending machines, which really are everywhere, and it's so convenient. Now, you hear about lots of crazy Japanese vending machines online, and I guess they do exist, but in reality, most of them are just for drinks, and it is really useful. But apart from that, I don't know why, but I just really like how they look. They're so colourful, and there's a really good choice of drinks. So the selection of drinks is slightly different in different machines, so you can go around hunting for the ones you want. I always look out for the Fanta grapes, and you might remember when Phil was looking out for the chocolate milk he really liked, and then he finally found it when we were up a mountain. I don't know if there really is a bigger selection of drinks in Japan, or if it's because I'm less familiar with them, so I haven't got bored of everything yet. But it does seem like it. In the UK, we only ever really get Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite and Fanta, and only ever Fanta Orange. But in Japan, it just seems like there's a bigger choice. Lots of different types of coffee in a can, lots of delicious lemon drinks, there's juice, Fanta grape and all the other special seasonal flavours of that, and novelty drinks like that pudding milkshake I found with bits in. The selection of flavours is slightly different as well. I like how there's lots of grape flavoured things and lemon and lots of melon soda. I'm not usually into fizzy drinks, but in Japan they're slightly less aggressively fizzy and everything seems to be slightly less sweet as well. Next, regional and seasonal specialities are big in Japan. Every place you go to seems to have its own special omiyage, that's souvenirs, or its own regional food or snack that it's known for. Like when I went to Hiroshima, I had these momiji manju, which are maple leaf shaped red bean cakes. Lots of products have seasonal flavours or special limited editions, but what's really special about it is how things are valued because they're temporary or because you can only get them at that time or place. It makes them more special. That's also why people get so excited about the cherry blossoms, because they're beautiful, but the beauty is fleeting. They only last a week or two, so it's all about enjoying them and making the most of them before they're gone. Maybe some of the products are all about making money or creating a frenzy about something that's not going to be around forever. But I think there's something special and exciting about valuing things you can only get in one place or at one time of year. Next, Japanese food is excellent, pretty much all round. You can't go too far wrong. And it's not too expensive. Usually in the UK, when I go out to eat, I usually feel like it was a bit too pricey or it wasn't really worth it for what I got. But in Japan, I don't often feel that way. What I don't miss is how difficult it can be for me sometimes as a vegetarian. It can be quite frustrating how fish stock is in everything and a lot of places don't have any vegetarian options, but it has got less difficult and I've learned lots of ways to get around it. I really miss being able to get good quality sushi for a cheap price, and I often miss being able to get healthy or healthy-ish food quickly. If you're in a rush to go out or you need to be somewhere and you just need to grab a quick meal, you can get something like a rice bowl or a bowl of noodles quite quickly and cheaply, and not all fast food is just burgers or chips or unhealthy fried food. Next, kawaii characters. As a designer, I have a fascination with kawaii characters. All the cute character mascots, cute characters on signs that you just see around, and I'm really interested in how even serious companies will have a cute character on their sign to make them seem more friendly, and how cartoons and cute things aren't always seen as childish like they are in other cultures. I love how you can just spot so many characters around just in everyday life. If you're interested in that as well, I made a video where I walked around Ueno in Tokyo and spotted all the characters I could find, and there were a lot. Probably as a foreigner, it's something I'll never truly understand, but I would kind of like to do some sort of study on it. Obviously, the whole of Japan isn't kawaii, but it does seem to be a part of life, and I just find it really interesting how cute things aren't seen as being just for kids. The next thing I miss about Japan is how there are things I want in the shops. Now, this is related to the last point about cute stuff, but Japan's the only place I really enjoy going shopping, especially for clothes. I never really find things I like in the shops in the UK, and that's part of the reason why I started making my own designs. Clothes in shops in the UK tend to be quite drab, and it's all about blending in, so I save up and do all my clothes shopping in Japan. Of course, mainstream fashion in Japan is also about blending in. People don't necessarily want to stand out. But the point is you can find things that are a bit more colourful and a bit more quirky, and it's okay to be cute. It's not all about looking a certain way. And the final thing I miss about Japan is arcades or game centres, which are just a fun place to hang out, which we don't really have an equivalent of in the UK. Sure, there are arcades at service stations and holiday camps, but they are a bit tired and they have like 4 or 5 machines that aren't really that interesting. It's not the same sort of thing. And we don't really have that culture of going out to play games. It's something people do at home or online. It's just fun to look around them and see what's in the claw machines, get some gachapon, do some purikura. And I like how there are nightlife options like arcades and karaoke that aren't just bars and pubs. So those were some things I miss about Japan. Do you agree, or is there something else that you miss? I'm sure there's going to be lots in the food category. Tell me in the comments, and remember to have a look at my designs on cakeswithfaces.co.uk. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.